I hope everyone's having a wonderful evening. Today I'm going to be discussing whether or not someone who is arrested for a nonviolent drug charge should be sent to prison, or should they be subject to some other form of civil punishment or treatment. Um, about 5% of the world's population lives in the United States. However, it's home to 25% of the world's prison population. In other words, the incarceration rate of the United States of America is the highest in the world at about 724 per 100,000 people, costing taxpayers about $75 billion annually. Looking at the graph here, you can see that the U.S. has about 724 per 100,000 people. Russia follows next with 581 per 100,000. South Africa with 334 per 100,000. Europe with 148, and China with 118. This information comes from the book Imprisonment Worldwide, The Current Situation in an Alternate Future. So a series of Get Tough policies were enacted in the 1980s and the 1990s. These policies included truth in sentencing laws, mandatory minimums, mandatory drug sentences, and the three strikes law. Since then, these Get Tough policies have become politically popular and are often brought up during elections. So looking at comparable countries, the network of social service programs are far less developed in the United States versus the comparable countries such as Europe, South Africa, places like that. That means the United States relies more on jails and prisons for people who otherwise would have been diverted into non-institutionalized care, such as people with mental health issues or substance abuse issues, the homeless, and the youth. Here in the United States, community-based alternatives are being developed on a local and a state level, but there's not a national network that can support a systematic move away from incarceration just yet. Until then, we're stuck in the current situation that we're in. So consider this. You have a teenage son, John, and John's just been pulled over for speeding. The police find 7 bags of marijuana, each worth $10 a piece, and John has no medical marijuana card or license, whatever you want to call it. So remember, in 2019, the year 2019, and marijuana is legal now in Michigan. So John's almost late for his curfew that he set up for him, and he's going to lose the rights to ride in the car or hang out with his friends. So he's a little short with the police officer, and mad because he's gonna get grounded. So this officer can very easily let your child go and destroy the marijuana on the side of the road, but John's mad and he berates the officer. So now John's under arrest for possession of a controlled substance and sales. So because the bags are individually wrapped, the police can now say he's selling marijuana. Now your son could be placed in a jail with murderers, killers, rapists, and actual drug traffickers. So say goodbye to the scholarship to MIT and say hello to recidivism. So John's going to spend the next year or more, depending, learning how to reoffend. And upon release, he's basically set up for failure by the system itself. So there's many theories about the impact of social factors that are unique to the United States, and how poverty, race, income, inequality have interacted with the incarceration rates. So in recent years, reentry advocates have highlighted the decisions that impose criminal justice fees, such as the fines for failing to appear in court, the lab processing fees for drug tests, or the surcharge if inmates are housed in private prisons. Such fees are unique to the United States and also contribute to recidivism itself, as pointed out in the book, The Criminal Recidivism Process. So, in conclusion, I believe that the continued efforts of the public, individual states will eventually legalize marijuana, but it takes people voting to change the current laws that are on the books. So by allowing all nonviolent crimes an alternative to jail time and prison time, the recidivism rates will plummet along with the overall prison population itself. And this is pointed out in the book titled The Little Book of Restorative Justice. We can transform the understanding of justice and change the way society views crime itself. Thank you guys. Have a great evening.